Good evening and welcome to 27 Minutes here on WJTS UPN 27. Jasper native Daniel Buechlein, now the Archbishop of Indianapolis, was back home on Monday autographing his new book. Toni Frick caught up with Buechlein at the Sun Shop here in Jasper.
For the Most Reverend Daniel Buechlein, his book, Seeking the Face of God, is a gathering of stories. It began as his response to Pope John Paul's request for bishops to emphasize their roles as teachers. The book is a collection of 316 weekly column writings printed in the Catholic Archdiocese newspaper, The Criterion. With that same fireside chat style that his writings are known for, he took time to sign over 140 copies of that book before his evening speaking engagement at the Sahara Club's annual appreciation dinner. At that book signing, he graciously answered a few questions for us. The first question being how he came to select the book's title.
Okay, I'll wait till you come up.
Seeking the Face of the Lord is taken from Psalm 27, and it's my motto as a bishop. When we become a bishop, they ask us to choose a motto, and so I took that one. Partly because I'm a Benedictine from St. Meinrad, and St. Benedict's motto was Seek God, and then Mother Teresa always had this image of seeking the face of Jesus and other people.
Many of the stories in Seeking the Face of God are related to his life in southern Indiana and the lessons he learned about prayer and work as a Benedictine. We also asked him what he hoped his readers would come away with after reading his collection of teachings.
Well, I hope they come away with a little more understanding of the faith in contemporary terms, that they see the church is very, very human, but also very blessed by God. And I hope they feel their spirits lifted a little bit.
The book signing gave the Archbishop an opportunity to enjoy the company of many relatives, even if just for a few minutes.
Just grateful for all the people that showed up for this book signing, and it was great to see so many family and friends from the old days.
But he wasn't in town just to recall old times or to promote the book. He was home to foster growth of church leaders, without which the Catholic path toward God would not be.
Oh, without religious and priests, we would not have parish communities. We wouldn't have parish churches, because it's all based on the Eucharist, and the priest is absolutely essential for celebrating Mass and the sacraments to carry on the life of the church. And our religious, by the way, are so terribly important as teachers of the faith and witnesses to the fact that there is another kingdom besides this world.
Okay. What's the Archdiocese doing to encourage vocations right now?
The Archdiocese has a whole spectrum of programs, one of which is, like you do here in the Evansville Diocese, we have dinners with the bishop, the Archbishop. We have recruitment programs in our schools. We have seminarians also visiting the schools so they can meet people who are in the seminary at the present time. And we try to do the same for promoting vocations to religious life as sisters and brothers as well. If we want to get more of our young folks who I think are very generous and open-minded and seeking God, if we want them to fill our ranks as priests and brothers and sisters, we need to lead them to prayer, and I think that's the basic key.
Stay tuned. We will have more 27 Minutes right after this. It's now time for today's homeowner, brought to you by Cremp Lumber Company in Jasper.
Now, in many parts of the country, air conditioning equipment is an important system in the house. And if you rely on air conditioning, you need to maintain it on a regular basis. Now, your outside condenser units like this rely on air circulating all the way around the unit to work efficiently. If you have some shrubs adjacent to your unit, keep them trimmed back at least 12 to 16 inches to allow that air to really circulate well. Also, the fins on the side of your unit needs to be free of debris at all times. You can see this one needs a little bit of attention. Now, your air handler unit on the interior of the house also needs to have regular maintenance. One of the maintenance tips there is to take a cup of household bleach, pour it into your drain line that moves water from your unit to the outside to keep it free of algae so that it flows properly. And of course, the best tip of all is to make sure you change that air filter at least once a month.
We will be right back. Tourism is thriving right here in Dubois County with many attractions. Dubois County Tourism Executive Director Darla Blasey talked to Dale Helmrich about some of the things her office is doing right now, starting with golf packages for the upcoming season.
Yes, in 1999, I think there was about 1,700 golf packages sold throughout Dubois County at our hotels. So it is drawing in people to come and visit and spend the night. We don't know what the figures are for people that just come in the day and from outside of the area and golf, but we know that it has a big impact on the community because if people come in and golf, they're going to come and eat as well. They're going to buy some gas when they're here. They're going to go shopping, and then they're going to go back home. So that's extra income for our communities here. And we've this year done a brochure that highlights not only Sultan's Run and the Dubois County courses, but also Christmas Lake and Santa Claus, French Lick at the resort up in French Lick, and also Country Oaks in Davis County. So we're teaming up with not only the hotels, but the golf courses.
When do you send those out?
We are doing a direct mailing in late February to households, about 7,000 households in the targeted market, but we also give out these golf brochures at golf shows. They went to Cincinnati, St. Louis already, and then they'll go to Indianapolis and Novi, Michigan, which is up by Detroit.
So that brings in a lot of people there too for tourism. But you're working on other areas too. But before we go, your brochure lists you work with each community on other things too, right? Events and that.
Every year we put out a special events festival, or special events and festivals calendar, and we have our website where we list out detailed information on those events and festivals, but also we do a small flyer brochure that lists all of those and when they're going on. And then on our regular brochure, instead of putting the dates, so that outdates our brochure every year, we just put the name of the community and when, if it's held in June or July or however.
So the date isn't that important until they need to know about it. But you're also talking, Darla, about tours. Tours bring a lot of people, don't they?
Group tours?
Yes.
Yes. We work with tour operators, and tour operators are like travel agents or companies that deal with just bringing groups to a certain location. And we work with those companies to sell them pre-formed itineraries where they may want a certain theme. So we have a tour called Lederhosen's in Lincoln. So if they want to, eat a German meal at the Schnitzelbank and then go to the Lincoln Amphitheater for young Abe Lincoln, or go to the Lincoln Boyhood National Memorial, we have that already worked into an itinerary, and they can just price that and package it and sell it. Or we can work with them to customize the tour. We do all of these type of services for free. in the hopes that, it brings business into the businesses in the county. And then we also have some local volunteers that we use as step-on guides, where these people will go and meet the group and actually give them some information on Dubois County, maybe a history, or give them a guided tour of, say, St. Joseph Church in Jasper. And then we arrange that tour service through our office. So
I understand that the guided tour of St. Joseph in Jasper can be done in German, is that right?
yes, we do have one guide that is very knowledgeable on the church and can do that. Mhm.
Okay. Now, what do you, say you design a group tour for Dubois County, wherever they want, but the regular tour group takes you where? Where do you regularly go? Is there places that...
Well, it just really varies. Last year we did a series of 4 mailings, and we had a different themed itinerary, but it had almost all the same things in and around the area. But what we find is that we can give them something like that, but more likely than not, depending on when they need to come in and when they need to depart, they're going to change that tour somehow or some way. But I would say the most popular attractions, I guess, for that group tour market are the monastery in Ferdinand, St. Mindred Arch Abbey, the Lincoln Parks, the Lincoln Boyhood, Dr. Ted's Musical Marvels. They love Dr. Ted's. It's a great place. Shopping along 4th Street in Huntingburg, League Stadium in Huntingburg, St. Joseph Church in Jasper. We can also arrange tours through Best Chairs, a factory tour there, and also a Kimball showroom. Jasper Engines will allow us to have a tour there. And then West Baden Springs Hotel up in West Baden, that's a highlight of a tour for a lot of people. And the Indiana Baseball Hall of Fame, the Indiana Railway Museum. We do houseboat cruises on Patoka Lake for groups. So there's just a wide variety of options for people in the area.
Another big Friday night in high school basketball. We will be back to take a look at all the action after this. In high school basketball tonight, Jasper is at home for homecoming against Mount Vernon. The Wildcats are 9-8 on the season after a big road win on Tuesday night at Princeton. Jasper coach Tim LaGrange had to sit that game out due to the fact he picked up a couple of technical fouls in the Bosse game. Coach LaGrange was proud of his coaching staff and players for going on the road and getting that tough, hard-fought win.
First, I thought that our staff did a super job, and that's a tough situation for them to be in, and certainly wasn't their fault that they were in that situation. So I thought that they came together, and of course, we have a great staff, and I've said that from the outset of the season, and I thought they handled themselves very well. And then secondly, I thought the team was mentally ready to play. I thought that they came together as a group and played hard, and so we did a lot of the intangible things well that we probably haven't been doing too well lately. So went into a tough environment against a pretty good ball team, withstood a couple good runs in a very physical game, and found a way to win a big conference game on the road. So awful lot of positives for our team.
Coming off that Bosse game, and we talked about that with a couple of other games this year, you stopped the skid right there. I mean, would have been easy maybe to go down there feeling sorry for yourself after a big loss at Bosse, but they turned the tide and got that win. That has to be important.
Well, I think it definitely is. And, one of the things that we've been talking about with our team recently is looking back to the holiday tournament and early in the season when we were maybe playing a little better than we have at times this year. We were very responsive, as our players were. They were very responsive to corrections. They were very responsive to everything that we did. And they played with a great deal of passion. And those two things have been missing at times this year. And so after the Bosse game, we didn't want to panic. It's a regular season game on the road. And so we tried to look back at the Forest Park tape and look back at some of the early season games and look and see what was missing and have the players look and see what was missing. And we focused on those two things, and I thought that they really responded. And now, we've kind of put ourselves in a Big 8 championship game against Mount Vernon, and this is the third year in a row that there has been a share of the Big 8 on the line in the Jasper-Mount Vernon game. And so 2 years ago we beat them on a last-second shot and took the outright crown away from them. Last year they beat us at their place and took the outright crown away from us. So we win and we get a piece of the pie, and I think that's important to the kids.
You guys played very well offensively, it looked like, against Princeton. You hit the outside shots. Against a team, whether his team's at Lawrenceville or Princeton, that's one thing that they hang their hat on is pretty good defense, but you busted for 60+% and get that outside shot going as well in that one.
Well, I think anytime you shoot the ball that well, it makes you look good. But sometimes I think shooting covers up some other sins. But I felt like not only did we shoot the ball well, but we had a lot of energy and we were attentive to a lot of things. And so I think that, we shot the ball well, but we also executed fairly well too. It wasn't like our shooting just covered up some things. So that was good. To execute and shoot well is a good step for us. And we haven't shot the ball real well in some recent games, and we shot, I think, 30% from the field in a home game against Washington. So you don't expect to go on the road and shoot 65%, but then again, you don't expect to shoot 30% in a home game either. So you had to hope that sooner or later that was going to balance itself out.
Are guys settling into their roles a little bit better? I mean, you guys are doing great considering all that you guys, go through. I mean, Luke is a senior, but he's more of a shooter than an actual scorer. You had a guy in Story that didn't play, and a guy in Neil Giesler's played very well, and he's just a sophomore. And sometimes maybe, fans or people or media forget that, you can't expect, maybe Neil to go out there and be the guy every night. And I think the roles are more defined, and guys are really, stepping up to those roles.
I think that's true. And to follow up on that point, that's kind of where we were after the Boise game. We were like, let's don't push the panic button here. We have an inexperienced team coming into the season. We have a lot of young kids, and so we've got to get back to playing with confidence. And I think a part of playing with confidence is knowing your role and playing your role and playing to your strengths. And I think we have a lot of kids doing that right now. And maybe one of the biggest differences between us right now and us early in the season is that our bench play is really coming on. We have some guys coming off the bench that are playing with more confidence, playing with more passion, playing with more purpose. And that's, guys like Mitch Merringer, Grant Knies, Brian Lewis is coming off the bench for us right now. Luke John is coming off the bench, and even Chris Schmidt at times has come in for us as a freshman and played some good minutes for us. So bench play I thought was a difference in the game at Princeton, and bench play can continue to be a difference for us.
What do you see in this Mount Vernon team? You mentioned the conference riding on it. What do they like to do, and what kind of team are they?
They are a team that they have a lot of guys that are what I would call interchangeable, guys that are the same size and fairly athletic and can play multiple positions. They like to get the ball up and down the floor. They like to mix their defenses. They'll throw everything at you but the kitchen sink, so to speak. They'll change zones on trips down the floor, and so we have to be ready for that. They like to create havoc and chaos, and we have to be ready to not let things get chaotic. We have to recognize defenses. We have to get ourselves in positions on the floor that we need to be in. And part of that for us is going to be to try to simplify things, to try to not have to change a whole lot depending on what defense they're in.
Guess now's the time to start cranking it up. Just a couple more games in the regular season.
Well, the sectional draw's coming up soon, and this is a championship week for us is good, right? At this point in the season, a sectional simulation, preparation, and I hope that our kids step up to the challenge, and we really want crank up the energy tonight.
You can see Jasper and Mount Vernon tomorrow at 10 here on UPN 27. Also, tomorrow on UPN 27, we will have coverage of Northeast Dubois and Perry Central. That game will come your way about 11:30. Also on the agenda tonight, Forest Park on the road at Heritage Hills to take on the Patriots. Southbridge has the night off. They will take on the Central Golden Bears coming up tomorrow night for their homecoming at Huntingburg Memorial Gym. You can also see that game Sunday here as well. That will wrap up 27 minutes for this week. Again, for the entire UPN 27 crew, I'm Kurt Gutgsell. Have a great weekend.